We have a rain and snowstorm traveling from coast to coast, what it means for your holiday. So can't wait to see those dew points this morning. Some upper 60s on the Gulf Coast. Yeah, so this is really humid air. This is air that actually is going to rise pretty easily. We could see thunderstorms, especially tomorrow. We're watching southeastern Texas. There could be severe weather. Damaging winds likely to be the main risk with any thunderstorms that do fire here. So we look at tomorrow's forecast, see how the rain expands all the way to Nashville, Atlanta. Montgomery may get some showers by the end of the day, but it really southeast Texas is the focus area. And then that shifts on Wednesday into more of the southeast and the Tennessee Valley. So now Nashville, a better chance of seeing a rainy day and perhaps some storms as well into Atlanta. And then we'll see that farther into the Carolinas too. As Jim talked about, there is a drought that has continued to get worse every single week, it seems, here. And Arkansas at the heart of it, even parts of Texas, even close to the Houston area, where it's hard to believe after the flooding we saw from Harvey that it actually has dried out quite a bit since then. So we see the rain that's coming. It's well placed in terms of an area that needs it. We just hope it's not too much at once, causing any flooding concerns. Let's time it out and give you some sense of what to expect if you're traveling, Jackie.
Yeah, so we've got the big bullseye there.
Yeah, this looks pretty interesting, though, Jim. This radar, everything is very light, but that's what gets you on the road sometimes because it surprises you, right? You look at your radar, you think it's not a big deal, but 28 degrees and some light precip down towards New Haven and Bridgeport could mean some icy conditions. The interstate may be fine. Of course, it's probably treated, but just getting there would be the issue in Hartford. Not a lot falling just yet, but there might be just a little mist or a little drizzle, and that could create some slippery conditions. New York City, luckily, we are above the freezing mark, but Boston, we are not. So watching for some patchy areas of slippery spots as you get out this morning. And again, the main thoroughfares may be fine. It's, you know, your front steps that could get you. But the story to tell here in the Northeast is we do have some cool air this morning, but the trend is going up this week. Our temperatures are going to be warming up. Today we're going to 44 in New York City. We'll be in the mid-30s in Boston, and temperatures actually ahead of this next front are going 10 to 15 degrees above average this week. So that means by tomorrow we are 50 in New York City. Look at D.C. We are heading to 60 degrees for your Tuesday, and D.C. the trend is up. We do have that front coming in. It will knock us down a little bit, but still above average by Wednesday. All right, Jackie, let's talk about driving with that kind of up nicely in the afternoon, and that's what we will do today. Could there be snow showers by the end of the week to give you a white Christmas? There is a chance. Denver, 7 days until Christmas for everyone. We look historically at the chances of getting a white Christmas, and you know, Denver, it's less than 50% actually based on climatology. Places like Denver, 40%. Portland, Oregon, 1.7%, and you know it's not looking good for you this year either. Milwaukee, 46.7% based on history, but you've got no snow on the ground right now, and we are going to have a warm-up before this next storm comes in at the end of the week. But Milwaukee, you have a chance. You definitely have a chance. It's not certainly a guarantee by any means, but Jim, I think there's a chance given this next lower 70s. That's as cold as it gets. But with the really cold air that Jim is talking about, we will have some snow to look at, and it will be affecting your travel. So let's look at the upper Midwest first. Back down into the Intermountain West, actually. So we've got snow on Thursday from Wyoming into Colorado, Denver, I-25. If you're traveling I-70, get ready for that. Minneapolis, there's probably going to be 2 rounds of snow that come into the upper Midwest, one Wednesday into Thursday and then Thursday into Friday. The Thursday into Friday one, I think, is going to be a heavier snow, even more impactful for travel. The cold air comes rushing into, so for a lot of you, it's going to be starting as rain, and then it changes over to some snow. You'll see that across southern parts of Wisconsin. So let's talk about those different precip types, because some of you will be dealing with a difference between rain or sleet or even freezing rain or snow. No, look, I mean, I think snow, of all the frozen types, snow might be the easiest to deal with. Freezing rain is the worst, if you ask me, as well. And it all depends on what the layers of the atmosphere stack up as. If you have all warm, it's going to be all rain. If you have mostly warm and then just a little bit of cold air at the surface, and things happen when Arctic air is coming in, then you get the freezing rain, which, Jackie, we know is just break the record, get the bragging rights. You know what else? The wind chill has been such a big deal. People have asked me, is the wind chill really real? Do you guys make up that number? No, we calculate it. There is an equation. This is it. It's complicated, yes, but T is temperature and V is the wind velocity. Wind makes a big deal. This is actually, the wind chill factor was created, so to speak, back in 1945 by 2 Antarctic explorers. So they calculated using science what it's like to deal with the wind, whisking away the heat from your skin and knocking down your temperature. So take a look out there this morning. We've got wind chills already. And host of today's homeowner, Danny, good morning to you. You are Mobile, Alabama, where I know it's also incredibly cold this morning. Let's talk about our house. And, you know, there's pipes all over the place in our homes. Do we have to worry about all of them freezing and then bursting?
Well, first thing you need to do is
This tale or not, but indeed it works. Open up those cabinets and let the water drip. All right, Danny Lipford, thank you so much. Great advice. Everywhere, right? We've had such a cold winter, but yet we have to hold our complaints about the warmth when we get it. Nashville, you're colder right now than it is in Boston, believe it or not here. So the chill is in place. The winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories are up. Dallas, I've been watching you pretty closely. All the snow is now off to your south. The dry air has moved in, which will factor into how much of anything you get across parts of Texas. Got some low dew points coming into places like Dallas, already down to the single digits. But we do have a decent snow happening right now. Shreveport, about a mile and a quarter visibility for you. We are watching Austin, where you've had some freezing rain, and that's very light, but it's still happening right now. So watching that and keeping a close watch on San Antonio as well as the cold air moves in. The front is through. It's all about the cold air moving in, as it will throughout the morning. So places like Houston, where we're in the 40s right now, watching the temperatures to keep dropping through the morning. There is the chance for freezing rain or maybe sleet mixing in around the Houston area. Certainly north of I-10 is where that's most likely. You are under a winter weather advisory and winter storm warning there, and we are going to be watching for that to wrap up by the evening commute. But I think in terms of impacts, you're pretty much in today. You're just sort of waiting this one out, because while temperatures are warm right now, they are going to keep dropping right through the afternoon. Here's San Antonio, too, where we're also watching for some wintry precip. More this morning. We're going to be looking for temperatures to stay in the low 20s. Max is about 32 degrees, which we see briefly this afternoon. But we've got either the freezing rain or the snow or sleet mixed in, and that'll be with us right through the morning here. Houston, here's your forecast. Our temperatures will keep dropping. As I said, we're in the 40s right now, but we're going to be dropping down into the 30s pretty quickly. This is your 8 o'clock forecast, and we see our temperatures below freezing right through the rest of the day. Not seeing it again through tomorrow, as well as temperatures start tomorrow in the 20s. So watching for icy spots, anything elevated. And Houston, there's a lot of elevated, so definitely concerned about road problems and travel concerns there. Nashville, I already saw some light snow coming into the area, about 9-mile visibility, so it's flurries, but we'll get a coating of snow coming in through the midday hours out of there by the commute home. Birmingham, it is the commute home that you could see some light snow, and then getting through the Atlanta area overnight. The models keep putting out that it's going to be breaking up and sort of drying up for at least a time across northern Georgia. So we'll see how much that happens, but certainly the potential is still there for a coating, and then we'll watch that across portions of western North and South Carolina too. This is overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. The pictures, I'm sure you've seen the video where it just blocks up everything, right? So it's basically creates a dam, and we get into flooding issues. So here's the areas that we have the river flood warnings. It's not like it's a widespread flood watch. It's all specific to the river and the rivers getting out of their banks. So watching in Connecticut, Southern Mass, and also a couple of spots here near the Capital District. Also, actually not too far from Augusta, Maine as well. We are going to be watching for concerns again today as we bring more precip into the area. Of course, while temperatures, I won't call it mild, but it warmed up just a little bit, it's about to get really cold again as well, and that's going to contribute to some of these ice jam risks. All right, when it is cold in the north, vacationers can warm up in the south, right? Oh, think again. It's all about this Arctic chill and the big wintry mess we've got going on with today's weather system that's crossing the country, heading through the south, dropping snow, sleet, freezing rain in the northeast. It's pretty much all snow, except for right along the coast. We'll have that wintry mix. But there is another storm system that comes in for the weekend that we got to start looking at. So we get through today and tomorrow, watching for the mid-Atlantic, North Carolina, South Carolina, Charleston this time. I think it's going to be mainly rain, but of course we'll watch any mixed precip getting in there. Timing-wise, I think it's going to help out with it coming through the day for you. Then on Friday, we look at temperatures in the 40s in New York City, back to the 50s in Atlanta. We start warming back up again, but you see what's happening in the northwest. A system coming down, bringing some snow to the mountains of Colorado. Denver, we've only had 29% of our average snowfall. We could use a little snow. You're actually not going to, I don't think, get much this time. But the next system comes in by Sunday. You see how far north the cold air is, all the way to Chicago. So we'll watch the back edge and keep track of the snow with this one end of the weekend into next week. Now, whether you're out, your temperatures are in the low 20s, and we will see that snow spread in through the afternoon hours. There could be a rain-snow issue possible. Keep an eye on that. I think especially to the south and east of there, that's more likely to be the case. Here's a look right now at the radar in the northeast. A lot of this not reaching the ground, or it's very, very light, so it's not a big deal just yet. But through the day, it will become a big deal. So by the afternoon, we could be dealing with some early dismissals. We could be dealing with some issues for your commute home all across the northeast, from Pennsylvania up to New York. York, New York City. Again, that rain snow line is going to be an issue here. Likely Long Island, we're all rain. And then to the north and west, it is snow. So it depends where you're going as to what kind of commute you're going to have. Southern Connecticut, likely to be all rain. Rhode Island as well. Boston, again, you're right on that line. We will see north and west, and your commute home to New Hampshire is going to be a snowy one. And then we get through the day tomorrow, and it is certainly all snow that we are looking at. So here's how much we are going to find. 3 to 5 inches, pretty widespread across all of New England, but there's going to be a lot of 5 to 8 from southeastern Maine back down into western Massachusetts, western Connecticut. There'll be about 5 to 8 inches of snow, and maybe up towards the capital district of New York, Albany, and then down towards Poughkeepsie. We've got that chance of 5 to 8 inches of snow. Boston, for us, the snow comes in overnight tonight into tomorrow, and then again tomorrow afternoon. There is that mixing possibility. This is not terribly cold for us just yet in Boston. I say just yet because there is more cold coming, but for now we're going to be hovering right around that freezing mark. All right, let's go coast to coast right now and check out your Tuesday morning weather headlines. Look at your weekend in view. We have today's storm, Inga, and then there's another one on tap for the weekend. So first, getting through today with wintry weather all the way down to South Texas, Austin, San Antonio, freezing rain or sleet. Houston, freezing rain, a possibility there. Wednesday's forecast is all about the snow from the mid-Atlantic up into the Northeast. And it's going to be a tough travel day, I think, too, especially places like Boston, watching that rain-snow line. Then looking ahead to your Thursday forecast. Dry in the east, starting to warm back up, except for Miami, where it's only 66 degrees. So you're getting your Florida winter there. Friday's forecast, though, starts to show our next system coming into the west with rain down into Southern California, snow coming into the Colorado Rockies. Mountain snow, yes. Denver snow, still not looking good. And we are running only 29% of our average snowfall, Denver. So we could use a little snow. Now, that system becomes the weather maker for the weekend. We're going to see the rain come into Chicago. It's mild to start. Look at Atlanta. Temperatures in the 60s on Sunday. So this is going to be a more mild pattern that we get into for the end of the weekend into early next week. Now, right now, though, it's about the cold. Winter storm, a couple of showers out there. There is some rain on the radar, but you can see none of it is over land. A couple of showers scooting on out here off the coast of Long Island. Maybe a few showers around the Cape today, but this system quickly moving out to sea and not a big deal. So not concerned about bringing rain. Actually, the sun coming out this afternoon, and that's going to help get our temperatures up to 54 degrees into Washington, D.C., running above average in Buffalo and Pittsburgh. There'll be a few clouds out there today, but temperatures are still going to be in the upper 40s, closer to 50. New York City, for us, our day starts off with a lot of clouds, but then we'll see that sun peak out this afternoon. Temperatures topping out in the upper 40s. Again, the sun by afternoon. And about that in December. But yes, indeed, we've got mild conditions out there today. Maybe not swimsuit weather, but nonetheless, warmer than average. Jet stream far to the north, keeping all the cold air way up there in Canada. We've been setting record highs even into southern Canada, so we know that cold is pretty far away. We're going to be watching our temperatures continuing to run above average. There'll be some dips in the jet stream here and there, but for the most part, largely, really through the end of the month. But for the next 2 weeks or so, we are running above average. Temperatures going about 10 to 20 degrees above average. And for today, let's take a look at what's happening for you in Salt Lake City and Denver and Albuquerque. Our temperatures mid to upper 50s, practically 60. We've got temperatures in Phoenix, 77. Vegas, 69 degrees. Tomorrow, we're going to be in the 60s in Albuquerque, 61 for you. And looking ahead to Denver and your extended forecast, is there any sign of cold air? You're sort of itching for it, right? If you live in Denver in the winter, you're sort of looking forward to some winter-like activities. Well, we've got temperatures in the 60s right through the Thursday time frame. Friday, we see a bit of a dip into the 40s. That's still above average. And by the weekend, we do get a little below average, but it's really just a degree or two with temperatures in the low 40s. Denver, again, we got those temperatures dropping off by the weekend. We'll get a little cold pocket coming in here. All right, Chicago, of course, it always is. Weather factor this morning, too, in the Midwest. Let's take you out to St. Louis. We've got a wind chill advisory here, and in fact, through 10 o'clock this morning, talking more about the cold temperatures, actual temperatures in the single digits. But it's all about the feels like, right? And even that, a little bit of wind is going to knock down that feels like 6 below in St. Louis. So with another clear night today and tonight in store, we're going to be looking for the chill to be in place. Let's talk about what's coming next. So we're going to see disturbance in the mid to upper levels, moving in from the Rockies, heading down here, dipping down into the southern plains. We will see a surface low develop. We got a midweek storm, but then we got a big story to talk about at the end of the week. So I'll just throw that out there that this is going to be a very busy week weather-wise. Watch this low first as we track the weather for you tonight into tomorrow across the plains. There'll be some snow showers out here, leaving the Rockies, heading out into the northern plains. Cold air is in place, right? Sort of setting the stage. So we track that into Tuesday, across portions of the Midwest, the Mississippi Valley, got some snow showers in the forecast. St. Louis, Indy, down into Arkansas, looking like it will be some rain. And then we track that same storm system on Wednesday, bringing some snow into the Ohio Valley, bringing a wintry mix, potentially down all the way into cities like Knoxville. And then this storm system is one we're going to track all the way off the coast by the time we get to the weekend. That is going to steal the show. That potential weekend storm will steal the show, I think, for the weather story that we're following. But we've got a lot going on in the West, too. In the West, we've got one system after another with like a day break in between. We haven't had this many rainy days in a row for San Francisco in more than 20 years. So we're going to keep that trend going. We're also going to watch our next system diving in, bringing some snow through the Ohio Valley. Here's that next one in the making. You can see our northeastern storm continues, begins, I should say, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, moving to the southeast, heading off the coast by Friday. And then by Saturday, we could be dealing with that falling snow, accumulating snow, very impactful for travel by next weekend. Details continuing to come in on that. In the meantime, we'll have more temperatures today, tonight, tomorrow are going to be below average. Look at Miami, 67 degrees. That's a high temperature forecast for today. We haven't seen air that cold in quite a while. Also in the west, it stays active. We talked about the pattern for San Francisco. We're going to see the snow continuing in the Sierra as well. Tuesday, we're going to watch our system diving down out of the northern Rockies, bringing some snow across Missouri. That swings on through parts of the Midwest. Even to the Tennessee Valley, we'll look for maybe a wintry mix. Coming through Atlanta, though, as rain, and North Carolina as rain as well. Then we get to our next system that, again, is going to take a similar track coming down out of the Rockies. We'll see on Thursday some rain through the south. That becomes our low pressure. That becomes the next big weather maker for the eastern seaboard. We'll see that move up along the East Coast. There is the potential for a big snowstorm on Saturday. I want to highlight the word potential because there's a lot we've got to break down with this. We're still 5 days out, but we'll have more details, of course, as we get through today and the week. Today, we need the rain. You know, we last year had such a wet year, ended up with one of our wettest years on record, if not the wettest year on record for many spots. However, we're back to dry, and that's been the trend. Dew points are down again today in the teens and 20s, not quite as dry as yesterday, but still nonetheless dry, and fire weather watches are up. Temperatures are going to be warming. In Dallas today, get ready. Temperatures going up through the 70s, 72 degrees, lots of sunshine. It's a beautiful day as long as you play it safe when it comes to the fire danger. All right, and coming up this morning, we're going to have more on what's going on with lake effect snow. Warnings are up. We could see more than a foot in some spots. We'll show you where the view. It's Wednesday. We're midway through the week. We got a lot of winter-like weather today, a lot of warmth in the plains, a lot of warmth for you across portions of the west. Man, Southern California and Arizona, it is going to be hot again today. Records the last couple of days will do it again. Friday, as you can see, we've got fairly quiet weather, but more cold. That's the story for the weekend. More cold coming on in. We'll be right back with travel. I have to have a little bit of snow still falling. Philadelphia, your visibility down to about 5 miles right now at the airport. That's not a tremendously accumulating snowfall, but it'll put a nice coat down with temperatures right at the freezing mark. So be careful as you step out your front door there. This little batch moving through Delaware as well. And then up here into Connecticut, we're getting just a little bit of light, call it mood snow. It's not going to be significant accumulation, but snow nonetheless. And the chill is in the air too, all across the Northeast, even more so in the Midwest. You're really feeling the cold. And that cold moving over the unfrozen lakes is going to keep on bringing us some lake effect snow. So we'll see that really take over today as the bigger snowfall event. All right, so down into the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley. Yesterday we picked up several inches of snow, and it was not everyone, but certainly in a lot of spots. Today we've got some very light snow around the Nashville area. No significant accumulation out of that. The Appalachians will continue to pick up some snow today, though, with that northwest trajectory of the wind. So we will still see inches of accumulation there once you get up in a little elevation. You can see as we look at our model forecast for today where we're going to focus the snowfall. We're going to focus it on the mountains, and then we're also going to focus it coming off of the lakes. And some of those streamers coming off of the lakes are really going to travel some distance, and we'll be watching that for you throughout portions of Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and western. The coldest air of the season coming our way. So back-to-back really, really cold days coming in for Saturday and Sunday. Let's take a look at New York City and talk about how cold it could get. New York, the fact that we're telling you this about below zero temperatures means something, right? 22 years since the last at or below zero temperature, 1994. Guess what? We're going to 1 degree, the forecast in New York City. 1 above zero, but you know, there's a chance we could go below zero. So this is significant. You know, it's been a long time since we've been sub-zero in New York. You know, even Boston, we've only hit below the freezing mark a handful of times, really, when you look back at the weather records. And there is that chance into Sunday morning. Very cold conditions as we get you into the upcoming weekend. Now, this is today, and you see sort of the heart of the cold air back across the Midwest. Watch where it goes as we get you into the weekend. We're going to take you into Saturday and Sunday. Now the heart of the cold air is back here over the Northeast, so we're going to feel the worst of it. If you want to know for comparison where we are right now, Chicago's at 10 at the moment. New York City's at 34 at the moment. By the time we get to the weekend, more of those single digits and teens are going to be widespread over the Northeast. All right, so tomorrow we go below average, we stay below average, and that continues to be the trend through the week. But again, the coldest days are Saturday and Sunday. And Iridice, what else you tried? A lot crisper out there this morning, wasn't it? So big changes into the southeast today. The front is through, dry air is in place, dew points have dropped off, the skies have cleared, and it's colder. Really have some temperature changes running about 10 to 20 degrees cooler right now than you were yesterday at this time. That's you in Montgomery and Birmingham and Atlanta. Nashville, 36 degrees. A lot of sunshine out there this afternoon, so it probably will feel a whole lot more comfortable than yesterday with the clouds and the rain and the humidity. You've got temperatures running a little bit below average, a smidge below average today in the south. That's not the trend. The trend is actually to go up, but today is our day to get a break from those warm conditions. And heading up in Memphis to only 49 degrees. You can see temperatures are going to start off this morning close to 40 or in the upper 30s, and then we climb under sunshine to the upper 40s at about lunchtime, staying there through the afternoon. Bright, nice sun, though. It's going to feel good for you out there in Memphis. So that's what's happening for us in the south. We're going to see a lot of sunshine for most of us, with the exception of South Florida. And we'll have more on that forecast as well coming up this morning. You here on AMHQ. So we've got to look at the week ahead, and we end, of course, with the weekend. Starting today with the West Coast, pretty active out there. The East, this is going to be our first big snow event of the season in Maine. And then in South Florida, we have a couple of days worth of showers and storms. May even add up to a season's worth of rain for us in South Florida. The rest of the country, pretty quiet. Friday and Saturday, a lot of sunshine. This is great for all the festivals that are going to be going on this weekend to kick off the holiday season. A lot of tree lightings, a lot of parades, Santa coming to town. You'll have your temperatures aren't crazy cold. Still going to be slushy and slick on some of the roadways and bridges and overpasses. Be careful. Those are going to be some of the trouble spots. Here we go, Cleveland. Here's a look at the radar. You can see, again, just east of town, little enhancement right up here. You see where you see that brighter, darker blue, and that's where the snow is falling heavy enough to stick. And when it wraps up, you'll be doing better. You know, this is due to the upper level low, but no doubt you're getting a little help from the moisture from Lake Erie, which is helping us get that snowfall right there. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on. Upper level low, this is the thing right here. You can barely see it, but you sort of get a sense of the spin. That's continuing to move along. It's also going to help trigger some snow today through parts of the Northeast, especially farther north in New England. There's also a surface low that I'm keeping an eye on up here that's actually right now off the coast of Maine. As that moves along, that's going to help throw back some moisture into northern Maine, and we are going to get our first big snowstorm of the season. So take a look. Right now, we've got some light snow out there across western and central Pennsylvania. Johnstown reporting a little bit of snow. Watching some of that along 86 up here in New York. Also keeping an eye on the thruway, but nothing yet for you there. Watching very closely Buffalo, because today is the day. If we don't get measurable snow, we will be looking at our latest first snowfall on record. A little bit of snow right now across northern parts of Vermont. Through the day today, this is going to be the area to watch over here. The other snow will be wrapping up, but then this starts wrapping in, I should say, as we get the moisture wrapping in from that low off the coast. And so snowfall for caribou, snow across northern Maine, it's going to be on the order of maybe a half foot of snow. Raindrops were anatomically correct. Raindrops are not like teardrop shaped. They are hamburger bun shaped. So anyway, that was very cool. Mark, thank you. Today we've got rain like that falling in the west. Here it's going to be a pretty busy one with a lot of wind moving into western Washington too. Then we looked at Friday's forecast. The east quiets down, a lot of sunshine. South Florida doesn't. We keep the showers and storms around. The weekend looking good for all of the activities. A lot of holiday tree lightings and parades. We'll have good weather for that. But by Sunday, a couple of showers out there coming in around Missouri and of course the West Coast. Dealing with season, right? But let's look at today's forecast, because the wind has also been another big issue in the Northeast. Finally, things are really going to calm down today. So we saw things yesterday better than the day before. Today, much, much better. Have to say, overall, as everything kind of exits, the whole system exits as well across the area. So we're in between things for today. We've got high pressure. We're going to look at temperatures starting off a lot cooler than yesterday morning as well. The winds calming down last night really allowed that radiation to happen. And so we looked at temperatures this morning, which are on the chilly side, but then warming up very nicely this afternoon underneath leave some sunshine. Boston close to 60. Same thing in New York, and same thing here into D.C. Looking at the extended forecast for today in New York City, looking good. Sunshine all day long. Weekend. This weekend in view starts today with severe weather across portions of the plains, and we are going to be watching especially into, say, northeast Texas, northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas for the area most likely to see the most widespread severe weather. But rain and storms all the way up into Iowa, rain all the way up into Minnesota. Snow still going on today and early tomorrow across the Rocky Mountain West. And then we'll see our system from the east on the move and finally get to shake out this upper level low across the west as well. So we get to warm back up in L.A. It's been a chilly couple of days here. The front moving east by Saturday. We'll see it kind of stuck into the southeast, so that will affect some of the weekend plans there right along the southeastern coast. But then by Sunday that moves off, but then the chill moves in. And so temperatures in Chicago and New York only in the 40s. Your temperatures running close to average or even above average across the plains this weekend. And Earl's Motor Speedway, and that is happening on April 8th. So heads up for that. Plan ahead for today's severe weather. We are going to be looking for the risk of storms out there. Dallas, Houston in the red zone. There's an area that we're especially watching from northeastern Texas into northern Louisiana, parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma, where the risk is a bit higher when it comes to sort of all modes of severe weather. We're going to time things out. We're going to show you when you're sort of most at risk for today. Looking at Jackson, Mississippi, we've got a 6 on our TORCON, our Tornado Condition Index. And the risk time frame is from starting 9 o'clock tonight until Thursday morning. Then we take you into Shreveport, where the risk area time frame starts today at noon, continues to about 10 o'clock tonight, a 6 on the TORCON as well. And Dallas, we've got a 4, a time frame starting about noon today, continuing until about 9 o'clock tonight. So concerns all across this area. What's at play is that we finally are actually going to see our big upper level low, our strong upper level low from the west be on the move. Jet stream energy at play here, both branches of the jet stream contributing, and especially right here from Texas into Arkansas and Louisiana, Oklahoma as well, is where everything is coming together. We'll see that turning of the winds contributing to rotating storms. We're going to see a lot of instability in the atmosphere, meaning storm clouds can really grow tall and support some pretty large hail, maybe golf ball to maybe hail that is even a little bit larger than that, which could cause some damage. So we're watching for maybe southeastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas. The time frame is later this afternoon. Then storms firing here, and this might be more of a wind damage threat by this point into Arkansas, moving into Mississippi and western Tennessee. This is tonight, about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, tracking these storms east Tennessee impacts on the roads. I was looking at some pictures and video yesterday from Montana, and you weren't even in the worst of the weather, but you certainly had just felt the brunt of it there with a lot of wind blowing around snow that was coming on down. So today we're going to be watching this big upper level low, the dip in our jet stream, sort of the core of the low on the move for today, but still enough to create some snow. That sort of uplift snow is going to be happening across the mountains of Wyoming and into Colorado. Idaho actually has been some of the big winners so far with snowfall. So a couple of spots getting over 16 inches of snow already. And there is still a little bit, as you can see, around Pocatello. But today everything kind of more shifting to Wyoming and into the mountains of Colorado. And this truly is more of a mountain event than anything else. Denver, we're not in it this time when it comes to snow. But Cheyenne will get some snow. Already saw a couple of inches there. We're going to get some more snow around Laramie as well. And Denver, not to say you won't get some snowflakes, but we're just not looking at the significant accumulation in Denver. Now, for today into tomorrow, we're going to see some more cold air transition back into the northern plains. So 94 and 90 into North and South Dakota. We may see some snowy travel, although for the most part, that great March sun should help the road conditions stay fairly good. Once you hit the mountain roads, though, things kind of go downhill. And I-70 was tough yesterday for travel. It may be again today with additional snow falling and additional wind a factor as well. I-25, I-90, all going to be roads that we watch right here across the west. When it comes to timing out the snow for you in Cheyenne, snow today, snow tonight, and then finally ending by tomorrow morning. For other big weather stories around the country, Anna Rittis, we'll go over to you. We're going to be stressed about the weather. Severe weather can cause a lot of stresses out there. We're going to get through today and tomorrow with the chance of storms, and then track our front eastbound by Friday, and then moving out by the weekend. So today we do have that area of severe weather possible. We're going to see the chance for rain all the way up to the Canadian border. Florida, we still have some showers around this morning, as you are looking out your window, West Palm Beach, and noticing very aptly. By tomorrow, the front on the move, and we will see storms triggered from Chicago Chicago, even to Atlanta. Heavy rain in the south will now be, I think, a bigger concern that we watch into Friday. Right there along the Florida Panhandle, where you got about 6 or 7 inches of rain in a few local areas last week. We're going to see more rain on top of that this week. But then by the weekend, things start to improve. You can see Panama City, the rain moving out, the rain sticking around Hilton Head and Myrtle Beach. We got the rain around the Outer Banks as well this weekend. Sunday's forecast, though, much drier, but much cooler. That's the next story to track, is 2 rounds of cold coming in next week, and the first one comes in this weekend. Get ready for some below average temperature, which, you're off. We've got your forecast covered, and you can see all of the active weather out here. All of a sudden, winter is here, and in the Northeast, it is snow, some of it coming down at a foot plus. We're going to tally up those numbers for you, show you where it's still coming down. Plus, our next storm system coming in will bring the risk for severe weather to the south and ice to the north. It's literally got everything with it. And as that moves along, it will bring rain for the biggest travel day of the year. That is Wednesday. So we're going to watch that rain move east. Welcome back, everyone. 30 minutes past the hour. Need it because of that glare. All right, let's track the weekend. And the big story, of course, is the snow starting today. Travelers, heads up. Kids, heads up, because when you get home from school today, we're going to see some new snow for you. South Dakota, Nebraska, into Iowa today. Tonight, we're going to track the whole system moving into northern Illinois, moving into lower Michigan. The low itself tracking on up into Canada. So we'll see some rain, a very chilly rain on Saturday in places like Columbus, Ohio. Big game there. Got Ohio State and Michigan State. We are going to be looking for a very chilly, windy, rainy day. Then we go to Madison, Wisconsin, where we are talking snow wrapping up before game time at 2:30. They're going to, of course, make priority to clear the stadium first, the field first, and then the stands. But you might have some extra snow out there as we look ahead to your forecast. And then Sunday, we track the whole thing out, the low pulling up into Canada, a little rain left into the south and east. Steph. Those Storm Jonas. This is the system that yesterday brought some snow across the northern Rockies. Today it will bring some snow into Kansas and Missouri, then into the Tennessee Valley, and then we'll track it through the mid-Atlantic and up along the eastern seaboard. We are looking for the risk of storms today, too. Severe weather in Texas, in Louisiana. It's overnight tonight in the Florida Panhandle, tomorrow in central Florida. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day. It's a day where you sort of rush everything to completion in the mid-Atlantic in terms of your preparations for the storms. We're talking about Charlottesville and D.C. and down towards Roanoke. North Carolina, be ready. You could have some icy conditions that keep you inside on Friday. Saturday, this storm moving out to sea. By Sunday, it's gone. I mean, there may be a little bit of active weather left early in the day route towards the Cape, but otherwise skies clearing, winds calming down. Look at temperatures. It's not crazy cold behind the system either, which is always, I think, an interesting note here. So you will be able to clean off that driveway and get out by Sunday. Risks today into beaches of California. Again, tell you what, so be careful out there. I know a lot of spring breakers are heading to the beach. Be careful and heed those warnings. Now, we're going to take you into the Northeast, where we say good morning to you. Times Square, looking a little foggy this morning, but not too bad. It's warming up today. This kind of happens. We get this foggy look sometimes, right, when temperatures are warming up, humidity is coming back, winds are out of the south. So today is going to be a fairly nice warm day. Temperatures start about 50 in New York City, Boston 47. South wind doing that for us today. Now, if you're right along the coastline, it'll be a little bit cooler, but overall, nice day. WrestleMania, by the way, on this date, 31 years ago, this is the place that right down the road at Madison Square Garden, that was 1985, your first date. So here you go today. A warm day on that anniversary. We're going to be looking at temperatures into the low 70s. Today, it's going to be a warm day. This is out ahead of everything coming our way. So enjoy today. Conditions do go downhill by tomorrow. Into the weekend, that cold is going to be a big story this weekend. Before we get there, the chill is in the Mountain West. New snow has been falling. Laramie just picked up another couple of inches. Denver, some rain showers today, some snow once you head up into the mountains. Tomorrow, the front moving east will bring rain and possible thunderstorms and travel delays on your Friday. You've got that in New York City. You've got that in Atlanta for the first part of the day anyway. And then the rain does hang on into parts of the Northeast by Saturday. But then you see that snow and the chill in the air coming your way by Sunday. New York City, yes, you could see some snow showers or some flurries flying around on your Sunday. Very chilly start to the day as well. And temperatures running below average across a good chunk of the east. 2012, I mean, definitely have memories of the South and how hot it got in 2012, especially in late June, if you guys remember. So, of course, we'll talk more about that in the coming days and weeks and months. But let's talk about the here and now. We've got today's forecast, and we're getting into the weekend. It is Thursday. It is Friday Eve, and it's going to be a busy couple of days. We've got severe weather today, flash flood watches out for millions today. Tomorrow, we keep the severe weather threat going, and we're going to be looking for storms from the mid-Atlantic to the southeast, even into the northeast. And even if they're not severe, it is going to be disruptive to travel. Then by Saturday, Saturday, the front on the move. I have to say it's a little slower than you might like across the south. You got your Cooper River Bridge run into Charleston. It's a fantastic event. That's one of the top 10 running events in the country. Things clear out and we will dry out. But we look at right now a couple of showers out here across Connecticut, Rhode Island, and it is rain in Hartford. You know, that's pretty much moving on out now. There is some snow, and saw that around Worcester. Most spots it's a mix of rain and snow. It's fairly light, and we're not looking at any big accumulation happening here this morning. Temperatures are actually near the freezing mark or above in most spots. Boston, here you go, starting your morning with some rain out there. Up towards Burlington, this is where we do have temperatures cold enough to get some snow. It's very light and it's very sort of sloppy and wet kind of snow for us this morning. Now, as we take a look at the radar and take it out through today, this morning we've got an active radar, but as we get into the afternoon, things will start to quiet down and dry up, and we'll get all this precip to move on out. The evening rush home should be much better, as you can see. But there's a sign of what's to come, the lake effect. That's the big story for Thursday into Friday into Saturday. And you sort of see signs of the winds moving over the lakes. That's what's to come in terms of snowfall and the big accumulations. What we're going to see through today will be fairly light, maybe 1 to 3 inches max, and really elevation. We'll see that here across the greens and whites in Vermont and New Hampshire. Boston, for us, it's a couple of rain showers, maybe a little drizzle this morning. But look at our temperatures. We're in the low 40s to start the day, and we're going to see it stay that way. Not a lot of budging of temperatures, but it's not going to be freezing, so we won't be looking at issues on the roadways. Burlington, for us, a couple of snowflakes this morning, and then we're going to see temperatures again steady, but for us, it's in the mid to upper 30s. So again, not a lot of accumulation coming. Western Minnesota, too. You're right in that mix. So here's what's happening right now. It's not just about the wind and the snow. It's about the wind and the temperatures. The wind chill factor is all of a sudden a big deal. We've got the feels like sub-zero. Sioux Falls, Bismarck, it feels like 17 below. It feels like 11 below in Sioux Falls. We've got Chicago feeling like 13, in Green Bay 11, and it's going to get worse. Temperatures are going to keep tumbling, and so that's the big part of the problem. The wind stays pretty gusty. So big dip in our jet stream. We've got some very cold air from the Northwestern Territories up in Canada and even beyond. Arctic air, true Arctic air that is able to come south, and we are going to be looking for this cold air to stay put for a couple of days here. Temperatures like you haven't seen in at least a year, if not 2 years for some folks, like in Montana and in Colorado. We're going to see temperatures colder than we've seen in nearly 700 days. So Minneapolis, for us, the high today is 21. Chicago, the high today is 30. Bismarck, 7 is our high temperature. That's it for today. And that doesn't factor in the wind chill. It will feel even colder. Bismarck tomorrow, 4. That's our high temperature. Rapid City only 13. In Bismarck, you know, that 9 inches of snow you picked up yesterday, that's a factor in keeping you so cold. You got that refrigerator effect going. It's going to be a chilly day and overnight over the next couple of days. Kansas City, these are highs, only in the 20s. Chicago, and you know, I had to sort of double check these temperatures to make sure they are highs and not lows. That's how cold it's going to be. All right, let's talk about the wind chill. This is today, so it's going to feel below 0 in Fargo. It'll feel like 7 below. It'll feel like 3 in Minneapolis as you walk the dog this morning before you get the kids dressed for the bus stop. And speaking of getting them dressed, be ready for feels like near 0 up here in Minnesota, North Dakota, Chicago, single digits. That's what it will feel like. We get into the weekend in view, because actually the lake effect snow will still be a story getting into the weekend. Today, we've got what's left of that little system moving through the northeast and moving on out. It's a no big deal kind of precip event this morning. We've got our western system, and this is a huge deal. This is going to bring very strong winds to Seattle, to Portland. We could see winds in Portland, Oregon from the east gusting anywhere from 30 to 40 or maybe even up to 50 miles an hour. And that's going to be a cold wind as well. We're going to see Seattle with some rain. Portland will have to watch your precip type as well. Rain spreading down the west coast. That becomes our weather maker for the weekend. That starts to move in, and we see snowfall back into North and South Dakota, into Minnesota, maybe even into Chicago. By the way, the chill stays around right through the weekend. Temperatures are going to stay below average in a lot of spots. Fargo only in the single digits. Chicago only 32 degrees. Wait to see next week's temperatures too. They're even colder. Coming up, we've got to check on the roads when AMA going on in the upper Midwest too. We'll get to that. Snow still swirling around in a minute. But let me show you what's happening. The radar looks pretty busy out here in the northeast, right? But you also see the direction that it's moving out. So it will be getting out of here before the end of the day. But for now, we've got some snow in Worcester, Massachusetts. New Haven, we've had a little bit of everything. You just had a few snowflakes mixing in with your, maybe even some sleet mixing with your rain, but it's mainly rain there. Hartford, the rain that we had has ended. Providence, we're getting rain right now. Boston, it's 40 and raining, but there is some snow in your commute coming in this morning from New Hampshire or Western Mass, so be careful out there on the Mass Pike. Now, we have snow and 32 degrees in Burlington. That's where, of course, it's cold enough to accumulate. We can get another inch or so of snowfall there. You see what happens, though, through today. Things kind of go poof into the afternoon, moving out, and we dry out, and we're looking for much better conditions for the commute home than you have this morning. We look at how much snowfall. It's mainly an elevation event where you could get a couple of inches. Everyone else, it's barely anything. I mean, even in Worcester, you're pretty much done there. Picked up some light snow overnight. Burlington, we're pretty much done. We can maybe pick up another inch or so in a few spots. Boston, for us, it's all rain. Our temperatures are near 40 this morning, and we're going to stay there, but we're not going to move. Temperature-wise, look at this. Low 40s all day, a very raw and damp kind of day, even after the precip ends. Burlington, Vermont, the snow we have this morning is about over, and then we pretty much stay where we are temperature-wise as well. All right, let's go. Even if snow isn't falling, snow just has to be reducing, blowing snow has to be reducing visibility to less than a quarter of a mile with winds over 35 miles per hour or greater for 3 hours. So that's been happening in Fargo. The other story is the wind chill. So the wind is blowing. The temperatures are getting colder by the minute. We've got a temperature of 16 degrees right now with that wind at 25 miles per hour, making it feel like 3 below. 30 minutes outside if you're not covered up, and you could be looking at frostbite. That wind chill chart is going to be very useful in the coming days. And next week, too, by the way, there's another round of even colder air coming in next week, so get ready for that. Today, we are looking at a high temperature in Bismarck at 7. That nice big snowpack we got of about 9 inches, that's going to help keep us cold and chill. And tomorrow, only 4 for high in Bismarck. Minneapolis will be in the 20s. Look at Friday morning. Minneapolis teens, we got 12 for you. Bismarck, we've got 13 below. Rapid City, 1 below. And again, that snowpack there, that pretty deep snowpack, is going to be an issue. All right, let's take you coast to coast right now and check in on your Wednesday morning weather headlines.